Hi everyone, I'm Miss Jenny at the Atlee branch of the Pamunkey Regional Library, and I'm here to welcome you to Scary Stories for the School-Age Kid. I don't know if you get scared easily, but I have quite an assortment of books behind me that I'm hoping you'll sit and share with me today. And maybe just
You get a little bit scared.
at the end of this, we'll have a really fun craft, which you can watch along with me while I do it, and then find your materials and watch it again. You can always ask your mom or dad to help replay this program so you can enjoy these stories again and again. So let's get started. My first book today is going to be a poem, and I want you to pay special attention to the pictures in this book. You see my sticker? That famous sticker there is a Caldecott Award, which is given to illustrators and the people that draw for children's books that are usually something marvelous. And I wanted you to be able to enjoy this one. It's called The Spider on the Fly, and it's based on a cautionary tale by Mary Howitt. The illustrator is Tony Dieterlizzi, and the publisher is Simon & Schuster. We'd like to thank all our publishers for letting us read stories online during this time. Everybody comfortable? Maybe you want to turn out the lights, cuddle up. Here we go with a good book. The Spider and the Fly. "Will you walk into my parlor?" said the spider to the fly. "'Tis the prettiest little parlor that ever did you spy. The way into my parlor is up a winding stair, and I have many curious things to show when you are there." Ew, would you go into his parlor? You know what a parlor is? It's an old-fashioned sitting room or family room. "Oh, no, no," said the little fly. "To ask me is in vain, for who goes up your winding stair can ne'er come down again." "I'm sure you must be weary, dear, with soaring up so high. Will you rest upon my little bed?" said the spider to the fly. "There are pretty curtains drawn around, the sheets are fine and thin, and if you like to rest a while, I'll snugly tuck you in." Do you see her face? Does she know what's going on? "Oh, no, no," said the little fly, "for I've often heard it said, they never, never wake again who sleep upon your bed." Said the cunning spider to the fly, "Dear friend, what can I do to prove the warm affection I've always had for you? I have within my pantry good store of all that's nice. I'm sure you're very welcome. Will you please to take a slice?" This book is kind of creepy, don't you think? "Oh, no, no," said the little fly. "Kind sir, that cannot be. I've heard what's in your pantry, and I do not wish to see." "Sweet creature," said the spider, "you're witty and you're wise. How handsome are your gauzy wings, how brilliant are your eyes. I have a little looking glass upon my parlor shelf. If you'd step in one moment, dear, you shall behold yourself." "I thank you, gentle sir," she said, "for what you're pleased to say, and bidding you good morning, sir, I'll call another day." The spider turned him round about, and went into his den, for well he knew the silly fly would soon come back again. So he wove a subtle web in a little corner sly, and set his table ready to dine upon that fly. Then out he came his door again, and merrily did sing, "Come hither, hither, pretty fly with pearl and silver wing. Your robes are green and purple, there's a crest upon your head. Your eyes are like the diamond bright, but mine are dull as lead." Look at his legs. Isn't he marvelous? He's creepy. He's really creepy. Alas, alas, how very soon this little fly, hearing his wily, flattering words, came slowly flitting by. With buzzing wings she hung aloft, then nearer and nearer drew, thinking only of her brilliant eyes and green and purple hue, thinking only of her crested head. Poor foolish thing, at last. Up jumped the cunning spider, and fiercely held her fast. He dragged her up his winding stair into his dismal den within his little parlor, but she ne'er came out again. And now, dear little children, who may this story read, to idle, silly, flattering words I pray you ne'er give heed. Undo an evil counselor, close heart and ear and eye, and take a lesson from this tale of the spider and the fly. The end. And this, if you come and check out this book, this creepy, scary book, are more notes about the poem. It's actually a very famous literary poem, which is why it reads so old-timey, and you must read it with accents. And there's actually a letter written here for you, gentle reader, from the spider. So I do hope, now that you've seen it and heard it, that you might come to the Atlee branch and check out The Spider and the Fly. The end. All right, are you scared yet? Not scared yet, huh? And you have the lights out. Okay, well, maybe you want to open a window. This book is super scary. It's called Bone Soup, and this is not the one I'm going to read. What we're going to read today is The Spooky Book. The Spooky Book by Stephen Dashi. The Spooky Book by Stephen Dashi, illustrations by Matthew McGillicuddy, and this one was published by Walker and Company. There's an interesting twist in this story, so you'll need to listen closely and see what's going on. It's a book about a book. I think you'll figure it out. The Spooky Book. You can ask any haunted house or bat flying kooky, is it true? Is it true? Yes, it's true. This book is spooky. The house was dark, one candle lit. Andrew shook as he opened the cover of a spooky storybook. Thunder rumbled far away as Andrew gulped a fistful of popcorn. Carefully, he turned each dusty page, and this is what the spooky book said. Once there was a girl alone in a great big house. Lightning cracked the sky, and she shook as she opened the cover of a spooky book. Same as me, whispered Andrew. She had no one to play with, and she found a spooky book. I wonder what her name is, or if she's frightened, or if she talks to herself as much as I do. Andrew could not help but to read on. The girl had fiery red hair and new sneakers. Her name was Zozo. What's there to be afraid of? Zozo asked herself. A book can't hurt you. And Zozo began to read, and this is what the spooky book said. Once upon a time, in a great big house, haunted by ghosts and goblins, a boy sat alone. Slowly, outside the boy's window, the wind began to howl like a ghost. Suddenly, the wind outside Zozo's window began to howl. It's a ghost! It's a ghost! Zozo hollered, and she jumped to her feet with a thud. All of a sudden, from outside Andrew's window, there came a horrible, horrible howling. A ghost! Yelled Andrew, and he jumped behind the sofa. But when he peeked out through the curtains, he saw only the black branches blowing in the wind. What's there to be afraid of? Andrew laughed at himself. A book can't hurt you. Reaching for more popcorn, Andrew read on. As she turned the dusty page, Zozo nervously twisted her hair. She read all about lightning crashing and flashing and shadows long and tall that were just about to creep across the wall. And then, suddenly, lightning flashed and crashed and shadows crept across her wall. Goblins! Zozo cried, clutching her book. Goblins! Goblins coming to get me! And out the door, frightened Zozo ran. I don't believe in goblins, Andrew shook, lighting up his wall. A goblin! He cried out and ran across the floor. And you can ask any goblin or ghost walking droopy, is it true? Is it true? Yes, it's true. This book is spooky. Armed with a bicycle helmet and a broom, Andrew sneaked up to the wall. But when he looked, he saw just a shadow. How could a spooky book do spooky things? Whispered Andrew. He hugged his favorite pillow like a shield. I'm sure that redhead girl and I have nothing to fear, he said. Bravely, he opened the book and read on. Into the stormy night Zozo ran. She ran very fast. I don't believe in goblins. I don't believe in goblins, she said to herself. The wind howled. Ghosts! Zozo hollered. Lightning flashed. Goblins! Zozo cried, and down the rainy road she ran, like a wet rat in new sneakers. Will she be all right? Andrew asked himself. She'll be fine, Andrew answered himself, as long as she doesn't end up anywhere spooky. Andrew turned as quickly as he could to the next page. Soon Zozo came to a spooky dark house. I think I saw a light, she said. Maybe someone there can help me. Through the creaky gate and up the crooked patch she crept, and in her soggy sneakers she shook. Oh, maybe I should knock, she said. Go on, knock, said Andrew, peeking at the pages through his fingers. What could possibly go wrong? Zozo knocked. The old door creaked and echoed from inside the house. There came a monstrous crash, and then a long, fearful howl. Andrew jumped, still holding the book. Bam, bam, bam. His knees rattled like chicken bones. He tripped and crashed over his broomstick, pillow, and a bowl of popcorn. Ouch! He hollered. Frightened, Andrew slowly opened the front door. Ah! Ah! At that moment, the rain mysteriously stopped. A bright moon poked through the misty clouds, and an autumn breeze blew by. Hi, said a girl. My name is Zozo. I'm your new neighbor. What's your name? But Andrew could only stare at the girl, because what should he see in the girl's shivering hands but a book, the very same book he held so near. And you can ask any full moon or any mist-flowing fluky, is it true? Is it true? Yes, it's true. This book was spooky. Everybody said the end. That was spooky. You have to admit that was spooky. What if that could really happen? Some of the books we have at our library are just as scary as this one, or maybe more so. You can see behind me lots of the titles in the books that I would recommend for older children. And sometimes my books don't have pages, they have CDs or other ways to listen to audiobooks. These are two titles that I wanted to recommend. And one of my all-time favorites, if you're into reading chapter books, is this famous guy. Look at that scary bunny. His name is Bunnicula. He's a wonderful tale, and they've actually turned it into a series, so there's more than one you can get. These are all able to be checked out right now down at the Atlee branch of the Pamunkey Regional Library. I'd like to take a moment to set up for a really fun craft that is a story. So you can watch the craft with me. We'll tell another story. And then when we're done with this video, you can go back with a piece of paper and make the same craft yourself. So thank you for listening so nicely. I'll see you in just a minute. This is the story of The Little Orange House by Jean Stang. It's actually a story and a craft at the same time. So we're going to go through it step by step and wait till you see the clever twist at the end. I'm reading this book in honor of my mom, who was a teacher for a very long time and used to read this to us at Halloween. And one year she got me to illustrate it. So hopefully you'll enjoy these pictures and enjoy the craft at the end as we go through. Thank you for listening. Here we go. The Little Orange House. Once upon a time, a very small witch was walking in the woods. The cold wind was blowing the dry leaves all around. The little witch was searching for a house for the winter. She could not find one. Suddenly, a piece of orange paper fluttered by. See that in the wind? The little witch looked at the paper and she said, I could build my house with a single sheet of orange paper. See the little witch? So first, she folded the paper in half. She said, I shall make myself a little house from this piece of paper. Then she took the scissors and she cut 2 triangles off the corners like this. This will do just fine, she said as she looked at her house, but I will need a door. So she took her scissors again and she cut up and across and down and cut herself a little door just like this. Because a witch has a pointed hat, she cut a special door. The little witch walked through the door into her little orange house. It was very dark inside. Quickly, she hurried out. What do you think she needs? Let's see. That's right. She decided that their new little house would need a window. So she took her scissors and she cut herself a little window for the sunlight. She cut a front window and a back window that looked like this. Oh, it was a fine-looking house. Her very own little house with a roof and a door and windows. But just as the little witch started to go inside for the winter, she saw a tiny ghost floating down the windswept path. The little ghost was crying. Why are you crying? Said the little witch. The tiny ghost stopped crying and answered, It is cold and windy and it is getting dark outside. I have no place to spend the winter. You may spend the winter with me in my new house, said the kind little witch. Oh, thank you, said the happy ghost as she peeked in through the window. This is a very nice house indeed. But first, said the little witch, I will need to make you a little door of your very own. So she took her scissors again and she began to cut. She cut a very tiny door right next to hers so that the ghost could come inside. It looked like that. Do you see? She has a witch-sized door and a ghost-sized door and a window for the sunlight. What a pretty little house. The 2 little happy friends went inside. The tiny ghost went in the very little door, and the witch went in through her own special door. And all winter long, they lived happily together in the little orange house. That's not the end. If you look at my next page, you'll see the craft that you can make all by yourself is in steps like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if you get to the very end, you will be able, with your little house, folded the way it's folded, if you open it, it makes a jack-o'-lantern. That's a cozy house indeed. And then you can take your jack-o'-lantern and decorate a fall picture for the little witch and her ghost friend in their happy little house. The end.